morning or afternoon. Welcome to the den. Can stay or fuck off here, whichever is to your liking. This is going to be the first edited video on the channel, as my last one was sent to the concentration camps for re-education, as YouTube likes to do from time to time. Anyway, let's get straight into this shit review for you. So today I'm reviewing a adventure game, Spirit Hunter Deathmark, simply known as shit. Characters there, don't expect me to explain it to you. This is a 2018 adventure game, or as how we would call it in the West, a visual novel. The main storyline of this game, following the MC, who is afflicted with a curse he is studying of these strange scar-like tattoos that have been appearing within the city. No one knows where they came from, but all the rumors say that those who find themselves with this tattoo-like mark will end up dead. What is my review for this? This product is 6 out of 10. Simple as that. It is not... I don't know how to describe it. It's not a bad visual novel per se, but it isn't good either. It is very much a generic visual novel. Even after playing it, I have forgotten most of the fucking characters and storyline behind it. Apart from some, but that's only because of my personal beliefs and desires and things. Anyway, with that vagueness out of the way, you can leave now, since you know my score, or you can stay. Up to you. So, let us progress. How did I actually find out about this? I initially actually came up on it when I was browsing VNDB, and it looked interesting, but it wasn't translated. I then later found it on Steam, so I gave it a buy when it was on sale, I think, because I had this in my library for so goddamn long. But afterwards, yeah. So, you need to buy this if you intend to play this game at all. You need to buy it on a summer sale, or any sale, as I believe its asking price, especially if you're non-US, is quite high. Cheaper prices, it's worth it to play, and you'll get your like $20, $30-$40 out of it. Especially because you get a DLC chapter 6, which I've actually not gone through. So, you have a decent amount of content, at minimum 20 hours or so. However, I doubt you'll want to really buy it after the end of this. As the story felt as interesting as testicular torsion. From outside, I have a macabre interest in watching, but I don't want to do it myself. I'll discuss gameplay as 3 main areas. So you have the search phase, where you aim to find the clues in order to fight the spirit, as well as learn of their backstory. You get 2 of these, and beforehand you meet up with the character that you're going to be on the hunt with. You generally get a selection of about 2 characters for this, sometimes 1. The hunt. The hunt phase is where the spirit is right onto you, and you need to begin to fight it. You can purify it, or disperse it. What's the difference? I'll show you in a moment. And then of course, the visual novel. These are sections of the games which go into a visual novel format. It is just your bare bones adventure VN, where it's at the bottom with a character's face. They come up, but they are not that good, and I'll explain why. So first off, the one I actually enjoyed, search phases are bloody fun. It's like a detective game. You're looking around in a random location around the city. You'll not have any music at all for these places. They just have an atmospheric sound to them, and a lot of them I can remember just from that kind of atmosphere. The sounds you have, or the first one, that was so good, and I am putting footage up of it. You're in a dark, dingy school with this dampness sound around you, the wind blowing lightly. Every step you're breaking and stepping upon glass, trying to figure out what's going on. You're finding out that something terrible has happened, and that this place is most certainly haunted. And then you pull up your flashlight, bam, a spirit. This is actually the second thing I enjoy. During the clue stage, you'll find these occasional spirits that aren't actually related. They're fairly harmless. They'll weep, sob, that sort of thing, and they'll just appear randomly and jump scare you. Although jump scares are very lazy, these guys aren't too obnoxious, so it just makes you freak. Like, you just get your hairs on tension because you're like, oh fuck, could be something scary coming around. Now generally you do 2 clue phases, then you move on to the hunt. The hunt is the first hunt I ever encountered is what made me realise that this game is going to be a grueling experience to get through. It's an interesting idea. The hunt is where the ghost is coming right after you, so you need to defeat it. You need to purify it or disperse it. The problem is the sprites are fucking drawn in a way that make any fear you've had, any tension built up, just fucking dissipate. They are so comedic in their design or how they move to you that I just cannot take them fucking seriously at all. I probably never got scared again by any of these spirits up until chapter 5, the very last one, and that was more or less because I was interested in the design itself and how they would tackle it, and it jump scares you, but it even then didn't scare me that much. The visual novel section is just fucking lore dumps. It's nothing else. They just dump a bunch of lore onto you about the spirit. You don't learn anything interesting about the characters, although there are sometimes interesting characters. They are all as interesting and have as much depth as Cardboard. Actually, this game probably makes Cardboard have more depth than some of these characters, because at least I can talk to Cardboard and read Cardboard to figure out at least where it fucking came from. But yeah, you don't learn much about them, even characters that have an extended stay dealing with multiple spirits. Now, how it also works as well is, for a lot of them, the first companion you bring in will speak, so you can learn a little bit about them. But you'll need to have a new game session in order to actually hear them speak. Otherwise, you're just going to hear them not say anything and just be there with you for that duration. The first character you choose is the only one that speaks. So technically, you can do multiple runs hearing all of the characters speak, but it's so little and the story variance is so minuscule that there's no fucking point in bothering. But yeah, most of the spirits and some of the characters aren't that interesting. It really only got interesting for me when it got to chapter 5, because chapter 5 spirit is fucking interesting, especially because of Japan's controversial history lessons. It was interesting to see it. I won't spoil it, but it was a bit interesting to see them do that. And the whole area had an interesting atmosphere to it. But ultimately, it can't save the game. That was the very final one. Hell, if you lose a character, the game doesn't punish you really. It's like, oh fuck, Gary died. Well, nothing could be done. Let's go get a pint and some chips. That's about as much of a punishment you'll get. So maybe if you're particularly into painful experiences, you could do multiple git runs of this game in order to increase the story and playtime. But honestly, if you play this game once, you've already got most of it out. The art and sound design, it fucking pains me because the art and sound design are excellent. Character sprites are fantastically drawn and you get a sense of that character. The problem is that there's only 2 of those sprites. So you get their normal one and their scared one, which is pretty jarring when they're talking about some fuck shit and old mate is just smiling like he's about to fucking win the lottery. The CGs as well are fantastic, especially the spirit CGs. They are fantastic. They have this aspect to them where you get to see the monster in a terrifying light, because they can do the shading, they can hide things, and they look quite terrifying. Sometimes I got spooked by just the monster's CG. Now, the music and sound design is equally fantastic as well. Each one of them is designed to come up with the atmosphere for the area, because you're treading around the same area a lot, so it's all just atmosphere to heighten the tension in order for you to fear the spirit at the end, theoretically. Does it do this at well? Yeah, it does. The atmosphere is terrifying until you meet the spirit. And then when you see the spirit, you're just fucking laughing at him, as he looks like some reject that won't even fucking make it on the football team. It does get a bit repetitive, but it's pretty good for feeling your emotions, especially for certain scenes. And finally, so putting it all together, Spear Hunter Deathmark, or Shin, has interesting gameplay in the clue section. The hunt is a fucking joke, I'll be honest. It ruins all the tension. The story is barely existent, and the characters are bland as shit. Fantastic art and great music, but I can barely remember much of the game just by its story, and the music never really got me to a point where I can remember a track distinctly apart from the one that I'll put on now. But yeah, that's it. Ultimately, clue sections were fun, but everything else about it was pretty mediocre. Now, you've already saw my review, so I'm gonna leave you with that. Go on, shoot. There ain't any hidden credit scene, just a sudden cut